Hey everyone, this is going to be part 2 of my book haul. I'm sorry for the lighting, it's just that time of day. And in part 1, I talk about 3 of the books that I hauled, and in this part, I'm going to talk about 5. So in part 1, well, I'll just say probably watch part 1 before you watch this one. And this is going to be, the first book is going to be the last book that I got from Barnes & Noble. I talked about 1 book that I got in the mail and 2 books that I got from Barnes & Noble in my first part. So this is going to be the last one that I got on that trip, and that is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. I have an interesting story with this book, and so I will talk about that towards the end. But I was watching the movie the night before this Barnes & Noble trip because I got it out from the library. It's my 3rd or 4th time watching it because I really love it. And so that's what finally gave me the push to purchase this. When I first read it in May of last year, I got it from the library because I didn't know if I was going to love it or not, but I really wanted to see the film because I love the 2 main actors who are in it. So I ended up loving this book so much that I devoured it in 2 days, and I read almost all of it completely outside. When I read you guys the summary, you will understand why this book basically begs to be read outside if you can. And yeah, so I ended up loving the book and the movie enough that I really wanted to reread it, so I figured it was about time I just purchased my own copy, because this is one of those YA books that I know I will want to read over and over again till I quit liking YA books, which for the ones I like, that's really hard, so I think that might not ever happen. But anyway, I will read you the summary, and that is, live life in a bubble or risk everything for love. My disease is as rare as it is famous. Basically, I'm allergic to the world. I don't leave my house. I have not left my house in 17 years. The only people I ever see are my mom and my nurse Carla. But then, one day, a moving truck arrives next door. I look out my window and I see him. He's tall, lean, and wearing all black. Black t-shirt, black jeans, black sneakers, and a black knit cap that covers his hair completely. He catches me looking and stares at me. I stare right back. His name is Ollie. Maybe we can't predict the future, but we can predict some things. For example, I, Maddie, am certainly going to fall in love with Ollie. It's almost certainly going to be a disaster. So you can see, since the summary kind of explains what Maddie's illness is, why this needs to be read outside. And so yeah, when I first read it, every chance I got, I read it outside. So that's kind of why I'm waiting to reread it now, because it is freezing, so it is not the time for reading outside. So hopefully in like a month or so it will be nice enough that I can read this and read it outdoors. So, the story of Everything Everything that I had to tell you is sort of tied into this next book. I volunteer, I think I told you guys this, but I volunteer at my local library twice a week, and we have this thing called Book Nook, which again I think I've explained, which is like a smaller Book Nook. Friends of the Library Book Nook is like a smaller version of the Friends of the Library store, and the only store we have is our central central library location. And everywhere else is small enough that it usually just has like a bookcase or something. And so today I was looking, and in our staff room we have Book Nook books that have been pre-priced, but that we haven't put out yet because there's not enough room on our bookcase. And I saw this. Oh my goodness, I was so excited. This is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. And it's the hardcover. I don't know if the paperback's even out yet, but ever since I read Everything Everything, I have really been wanting to read this. But for some reason I haven't gotten it out of the library. I don't know why. So when I saw this on our Book Nook shelf for $1, the sticker's gone now, but it was $1 because our kids and YA books are $1. And also, all this month, it's a buy one, get one deal for dollar books. So this was 50 cents, which just made me so incredibly happy. So anyway, the other book that I saw with this was the hardcover version of Everything Everything. And as soon as I saw it, I got really excited because I was like, this is the version that I would rather have. Like, I would 10 times rather have the hardcover. Usually I'm a paperback person, but in this case I was like, no, I want the hardcover. But I did not snatch it up because I was like, wait, has it been long enough that I can't return this? And the thing is, well, it's very difficult for me to own. I'm not the kind of person where I will own 2 different editions of the same book if they're literally the same edition, just one's paperback and one's hardcover. Like, I do love buying different editions of books that I love, like, you know, Sense and Sensibility and stuff like that, but only if they are significantly different, rather than just different in hardcover versus paperback. So I could not bring myself to just get the hardcover, because I then would not be able to bring myself to give away a book that I just paid $10 for just a couple weeks ago. And yeah, so that was unfortunate. And I got home and I double checked and I bought this 6 weeks before, so I was like, Barnes & Noble will not take this back. Like, usually it's like 2 weeks to a month. So sadly, the hardcover version of this did not come home with me. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind and go back in next week and just get it anyway, because it will essentially be 50 cents if I get another book with it. But I doubt it. I think I'll just keep this one, especially because it has bonus content, which I don't believe the hardcover has. But anyway, there's that one. And I did end up getting this one, of course, because I needed to. And I don't know if I mentioned, but what I think is so cool about these is Nicola Yoon's husband, David Yoon, is an illustrator and maybe also a graphic designer. I'm not totally sure, but he did the design and the covers for these two, as well as any and all illustrations within them, which I just thought was so cool. And so I will read you guys the inside of this. This says, the story of a girl, a boy, and the universe. Natasha. I'm a girl who believes in science and facts, not fate, not destiny, or dreams that will never come true. I'm definitely not the kind of girl who meets a cute boy on a crowded New York City street and falls in love with him. Not when my family is 12 hours away from being deported to Jamaica. Falling in love with him won't be my story. Daniel. I've always been the good son, the good student, living up to my parents' high expectations, never the poet or the dreamer. But when I see her, I forget about all that. Something about Natasha makes me think that fate has something much more extraordinary in store for both of us. The universe. Every moment in our lives has brought us to this single moment. A million futures lie before us. Which one will come true? So I love that. I think it's amazing. And the great thing about this is that for this one, Nicola Yoon took specific inspiration from her own life and her husband's, because she was born in Jamaica and she was raised, I think, for a long while in Jamaica and then in Brooklyn, New York. Although she lives in LA now, and I know this from internet stuff, from internet bios, but I thought that was awesome. And also her husband, David, is Korean American, so it's just, I love it that she took inspiration from her own love story and her culture and her husband's culture and melded the two together. And I think that's great. Also, can I just say about this that I read a little, I couldn't help myself, I didn't want to totally start it, but I read just these, and what is the first quote I see but my favorite verse from my favorite poem? And I just thought that was amazing, and that is, "Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse." And that is from The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. And that poem is tied with Maud by Alfred Lord Tennyson as my favorite poem ever. The first time I ever read it was in high school because we studied it, and I love it. So I felt like that was an amazingly beautiful sign that a second book by an author whose first book I completely fell in love with had a quote from my favorite poem of all time. Like, I just thought that was beautiful. So yeah, very excited to start this. I will probably do the same thing that I did with this one, where I will read them both in springtime or the summer, either one. Alright, I'm going to try to make this quick, but anyway, the book that I got with with The Sun Is Also a Star, to make them 50 cents each instead of $1, is Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. I've been wanting to read this for quite a while. I definitely wanted to read the book before I saw the show. I have not seen the show yet. Sadly, I know the ending. That got spoiled for me, but whatever. I'm going to try to forget it. But anyway, yeah, so I finally have a copy. I didn't want to buy it in Barnes & Noble because it was expensive. And I feel like the library copies were still on a pretty big hold list, so when I saw this for $1 in our book nook, I was like, yes please. Okay, I will read you guys the back of this one. I will try to do it quickly. This is: a murder, a tragic accident, or just parents behaving badly. What's indisputable is that someone's dead. Madeline is a force to be reckoned with. She's funny, biting, and passionate. She remembers everything and forgives no one. Celeste is the kind of beautiful woman who makes the world stop and stare, but she is paying a price for the illusion of perfection. New to town, single mom Jane is so young that another mother mistakes her for a nanny. She comes with a mysterious past and a sadness beyond her years. These three women are at different crossroads, but they will all wind up in the same shocking place. Excited for this one. And then these other two I got at the Friends of the Library store maybe like 2 weeks ago when I had the volunteer reception. And these were also pretty cheap. I think I got the two of these for $7. This one was $2, and it is Odd and the Frost Giants by Neil Gaiman. This is one that I read as an ebook through the library, and I also listened to the audio through the library a couple years ago, and I loved it, but I thought it was a bit pricey for the physical book because it's $15. But also I think this might be out in paperback now, but anyway, I loved this, and so I was so happy to have a physical copy, and it is illustrated by Brett Hellquist, famous for the Series of Unfortunate Events series, as well as a couple other children's books, but I will read you guys the back of this one. It says, "In a village in ancient Norway lives a boy named Odd, and he's had some very bad luck. His father perished in a Viking expedition. A tree fell on and shattered his leg. The endless freezing winter is making villagers dangerously grumpy. Out in the forest, Odd encounters a bear, a fox, and an eagle, three creatures with a strange story to tell. Now Odd is forced on a stranger journey than he had imagined, a journey to save Asgard, city of the gods, from the frost giants who have invaded it. It's going to take a very special kind of 12-year-old boy to outwit the frost giants, restore peace to the city of gods, and end the long winter. Someone cheerful and infuriating and clever. Someone just like Odd. So, there's that one. And then, last but not least, is one I am so excited that I found. It's The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This was on the New Books shelf in the Friends bookstore for $5, and it just came out like a month ago. And it has been on my list for like 2 months, maybe. So, okay, I don't have time to read this, but to read you guys the summary for this one. But if anyone doesn't know what this summary is, then just shoot me a comment, and I will be happy to put it in the comments, or maybe I can put it in the description. I'll try to do that. And maybe I will also try to link the Goodreads page. But anyway, I'm so excited to get to read this, because it's been on my list for quite a while. Okay, I'm going to go now and hope this uploads, but anyway, let me know if you guys have read any of these and what your thoughts are, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.